Many reliability analyses begin at a subjective and qualitative level and then stall at the point when they need to be refined to a quantitative level. Access to relevant quantified failure rate and failure mode data can help these analyses move forward. This demo will give you the inside view of a web application called Roads, which provides searchable access to Quanterion's comprehensive reliability failure rate and mode datasets known as NPRD, the non-electronic parts reliability data, EPRD, electronics parts reliability data, and FMD, failure mode mechanism distributions. I'm Chris Maxwell, and I'm a senior engineer at Quanterion Solutions. In this video, I will be giving you a live demo of Roads, which stands for the Reliability Online Automated Databook System. Before we dive into the demo, let me give you a little background. Roads was developed by Quanterion Solutions. Quanterion has decades of experience helping clients and customers with deriving quantitative criterion for reliability decisions. Quanterion Solutions provides customized training, consulting, and data analysis for reliability engineering, and in the past operated the Reliability Information Analysis Center, also known as the RIAC. In today's demo, you'll receive a firsthand view of the tool used to access Quanterion's most popular products, its reliability data sets. What I'm primarily going to talk about today is Roads, which is the online accessible database, the Reliability Online Automated Databook System, Roads, which contains all of the data sources that we just talked about. A subscription to Roads provides, as it says, an online automated system of searching and referencing NPRD, EPRD, and the FMD. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to present this from a novice's perspective, and I feel like this will help novice users. And so what we're going to do is we're going to navigate your login in your account. We're going to manage what data sources are available on your account, where to find background information to facilitate search and interpretation. And essentially, that's what I'm calling how to set up your lifelines. So if you're a novice, when you first get in, set up some lifelines and your experience will be much better. Examples of searches and search methods, which may get interesting. So to that effect, if you look under my account, which I'm going to show you some slides right now to sort of give you a map of where I'm going to go. But then I'm going to show these slides, and then we're going to get right into Roads, and then we're going to go there. So this is the lay of the land. Your data sources are set up under, you go to your login circle here, you go to my account, and you can set up which data sources are available. Subscriptions include all three of these data sources. The main thing that you might want to do is adjust which vintage data you're going to use. It's recommended that you use the most current data because the current data, say NPRD 2023, includes 2016. It doesn't truncate 2016 and then add. So you're going to get all of 2016 and 2023. You're going to get all of 2011 and 2023. The only reason you might want to exclude the newest version would be if you've already done a reliability prediction or a data source lookup and it was based on 2016 or 2011, and you've done this for numerous items and you want to be consistent with how you source your surrogate data so that you can perform relative comparisons from one system to another, which, given the statistical nature of reliability prediction, that's a non-trivial concern. Sometimes you want to go back to the old data just so that you're consistent. Data source text is available. This to me is important in setting up your lifelines. The introduction information from all of the printed books that we have made for the various data sources, which 2023, NPRD 2023 is not available in print yet, but it will be soon. But if you're familiar with the books, you can see that text from within Roads. So if you like to navigate with text, you can do that while you have Roads up. So the list of part descriptors is also available. in text, which can help you find search terms if you're floating a little bit, sort of wrapped around the axle trying to find a search term. My personal comment here is I feel it's the best of both worlds. The user can use the tools within Roads, and then in other tabs that can be up simultaneously, you can go back and look at your lifelines to help during your search. The main search methods, we're going to explore these. This is just a reference slide. When you get into Roads, it's nice to know how these different search methods work. Your primary index search means that it's a primary term that you're searching on, and your search results can be anywhere in the description. Okay, so you're searching on that word that you're searching on is more important than the description. And so you're going to get all results that have that word at the beginning, in the middle, at the end. Doesn't matter. If you use a primary index, you're going to get every result that has that word in it or term. Part category, if you want to search by what would be at the beginning of the part description, which is common in a lot of bills of material, potatoes, comma, mashed, right? If you're ordering lunch according to most bills of material, it's going to be potatoes, comma, mashed, not mashed potatoes. So you would search under potato, not mashed. Part description, search results will match entire search term. If you want mashed potatoes, you're going to have to say mashed potatoes, and you're going to get only mashed potatoes in your search. I know it's lunch and we're possibly all getting hungry, so I'm going to end with the food analogies. So within Roads, I've already logged in, just for expediency, but logging in is relatively easy, and we can help you with that process if you're a user of Roads. But so let's talk about the first topic, which is exploring your login, right? I look at my account, and it welcomes me, which is always nice. I feel welcome. But so here's my databook configuration. Right now, I'm configured with the most modern version of 2020 NPRD, the only version of EPRD, which we've mentioned there's a new version of EPRD being published soon, and the most recent version of FMD. This is my subscriptions, whether they're active, whether they expire, and my password is hidden, thankfully. So let's set up the lifelines. Lifelines are in text. So I'm going to open the NPRD introduction, okay? Notice it opens in another tab. So it's going to be open even while I can search, and I can bounce back and forth between the tabs. To me, I like to go to page 19. You can look through the entire introduction. It's all, the whole PDF is there. Page 19 gets you to, this is the field descriptions when you look at the data. For instance, the column descriptions of that example page that Rich just showed you a few minutes ago. Table of application environments. If you're wondering if this code matches the environment that your product is going to be used in, this is the best place to look that up. A little treatise on how we handle merging data and collect, how we statistically analyze the data. A little discussion about the impending failure assumption, which answers the mystery of when you're looking at the data, you see a failure rate, even though there are 0 failures listed. Well, we assume that 1 failure happened under all the accumulated hours, and then we say the failure rate will be less than the failure rate if 1 failure occurred. Okay, so the impending failure assumption is explained here. So that's the first lifeline. Next lifeline that I would set up, especially if I'm using NPRD, is down here. I would go to the part category descriptors, because just based on my little explanation about how words and part categories and part descriptions
sometimes start with different words than you think they would start with. Sometimes it's nice to have this, and sometimes a Control F and a text search here can get you can sort of get you oriented and give you some inspiration as to what to search on. Um, Another thing that I would usually open as a lifeline would be the, uh, and actually I hit the wrong one. Went going too fast, right? I said I wasn't going to go too fast, and I did. Um, FMD 16. Um, the FMD, as in the fractions of failure modes in those distributions, are available for every part that you search. Okay, and so that data is available to you in roads with a click. And once you see that data, it would be nice to be able to essentially interpret that. In the section here that I like to refer to is page 17, data interpretation, and that will help you to get to uh, essentially know what's going on when you read the data, okay? Specifically, if you want to know the difference between the normal distribution and the failed distribution. So those are the lifelines. One other lifeline that if you are searching on NSNs and national stock numbers and things, if you open yourself another tab and if you just type in, I'm looking at, I have to type it in, I didn't copy it, land and marine, maritime, I should say, apps.dla. And I have caps lock on, which I'm going to turn off. I'm not yelling at you. Okay. Yes, it says warning batter, but galvanize your nerves. It's going to be okay. It's just saying, in here, this you can do part searches for if you have an NSN, you can put that search in here. And this is handy if you search an NSN and you can't find that NSN in roads, you can go out there and find a description. Okay, let's get a little bit into roads. Okay, so the first part that I'm going to search is I have a little bit of a canned search here. And we're going to search a brake assembly. Okay. Now, if I want to search a brake assembly, I already know what that description is, but I'm just going to show you how it works in the tool here. If I type brake here in primary search, a selection list will come up and you're going to get anything with the word brake in it, and you might also get some close close relatives of that, if you will. If I go over here and search brake, brake's going to be the first word. So brake assembly is a choice there. Okay. If I come over here and search for a brake assembly, by the time that I type the word brake, I do get these choices, but they're not going to narrow down too much until I say assembly. Okay. And then I get like disc brake assembly, things like that. I'm going to go back here to part category and I'm going to select brake assembly from there. Now, once you've filled this in, you have to do search with qualifiers to get your results. Okay. First thing I want to talk about now that we have some results up here, we chose this example to let you sort of get oriented how the data is presented. One of the main things, which you can see if you go up to the introduction in 2023, it's going to talk about how failure rates are presented. They're normally presented in failures per million hours, but if you see a C, that's failure per million cycles, you might see an M for failure per million miles. And there are a couple of other spurious uh, failure rate quantification factors that could be involved. But C means cycles, M means miles, which is important, especially for ground mobile stuff. If you look up a connector in the EPRD, you might see its failure rate in million miles. If you look up that same electrical connector in NPRD, or sorry, you would see that failure rate in failures per million hours in EPRD. If you look it up in um, actually, if you look it up in EPRD, you will see failures per million hours. If you look it up in NPRD and you look under ground mobile, you may find that electrical connector is used in a car or a vehicle and the failure rate will be presented in miles. Thank you for bearing with my little bit of confusion there. But this shows how data is rolled up, okay? Brake assembly, military quality, airborne attack, okay? Yep. Has a failure rate less than 1.49 failures per million hours because zero failed and essentially there was 1.49 million hours of data collected without any failures. So if one had failed, this is what you would get. There's data among the brake assemblies. There's data that's a mixture of million failures per million hours, failures per million cycles. Lots of times, if you're looking for applicability of data, you would move up here to a roll-up, some type of roll-up. This is going to be a roll-up of all of the data sets that were done in cycles, okay? This is going to be a roll-up of all the data sets that were done in failures per million hours. And then brake assembly summary will also include different descriptions of brake assembly, if there are any, which there aren't in this case. Everything that's brought up is just brake assembly. But the brake assembly summary might include, say, brake assembly, comma, landing gear, something like that. Failure rate details. Failure rate details are essentially referenced and indexed by these source numbers that we're looking at. So you would have to, if you wanted to explore one of these sources, remember this number, go to your failure rate details, and the source will give you these details, okay? This is sort of a summary. 5 failures, 357 parts in the population. If you click over here, you can get even more details, possibly even the part number, manufacturer, and sometimes within that data set, this 22.1.10.19, there may have been one part that was, that met this brake single disc category, and other parts may have met that too. Okay. So let's go back to the search. Then I want to explore failure modes. So if you bring up failure modes, this is the failure modes that's relevant to the part description that you just searched. Okay. The normal distribution and the failed distribution. And the main difference here is the normal distribution ignores unknown failures. It ignores others. It also ignores induced failures. For instance, failures that are induced by excessive stresses on the component. Your failed distribution includes all of those. And so depending on how you want to look at the fraction of failure modes within the overall failure rate, you can select from either of these. So for instance, if you had brakes, if you were looking to, if you had done an FMEA and you had determined that worn brakes was a failure mode for this type of failure, and loose brakes was the failure mode for another failure in your FMEA, you would say the probability of the worn failure rate, assuming you had one failure per million hours, would be that failure rate multiplied by your choice of distribution, whether you want to use normal or failure distribution. failed distribution. The probability of loose breaks as a failure mode would be the overall failure rate, which we had just looked up, multiplied by the appropriate distribution.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You can subscribe to Rhodes directly at www.quanterion.com/Rhodes. When you subscribe to Rhodes, you'll receive automatic access to NPRD, EPRD, and FMD. We also offer discounts for enterprise or group subscriptions in a way for you to manage your group to enable you to swap users as different members of your team need access to the data. In addition to Rhodes, I would like to talk about data licensing, reliability consulting, reliability questions forums, and upcoming open trainings. If you are interested in licensing the NPRD, EPRD, and FMD datasets into your reliability software or calculator, go to qinfo@quantrion.com to discuss your needs. Also at qinfo@quantrion.com, you can ask information about our customizable reliability consulting. You can also sign up for reliability emails, which provide a wealth of resources for you and your organization. qinfo@quantrion.com also serves as a question and answer forum where you can bring your open-ended reliability questions, and engineering staff at Quantrion will answer those questions as best we can. Quantrion is now accepting registrations for upcoming open training courses November 14th to 16th in Orlando, Florida. Visit our website at www.quantrion.com to sign up today. Thank you for watching. We look forward to future interactions with you, and we always appreciate your feedback.